Hey Internet, my name's Julian, and I'm here to give you this week's movie in review. This week I was able to see Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 remake, or retelling, or reimagining, or reboot, or whatever you want to call it. It's a live action version of the 1991 classic Beauty and the Beast, of course. So to begin with, the formalities, you have directed by Bill Condon, who's best known for Dreamgirls, Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, Mr. Holmes, and now, of course, Beauty and the Beast. It's got an all-star cast of Emma Watson, Ewan McGregor, Luke Evans, Dan Stevens, Ian McKellen, and a lot more. So it's no surprise that it's actually a pretty decent movie. I wouldn't say it's the best movie, and I wouldn't even say it's the best Disney remake that they've been doing, because this is like a new trend that they've had. Taking old classic animated movies and redoing them for a live-action audience. They did it with Maleficent, which is kind of a retelling of the story on Maleficent's view, and then they did The Jungle Book, and they have a couple more in the works that have been rumored, such as Aladdin and Mulan. I thought, honestly, out of the live-action films that they're doing, The Jungle Book was a little bit better. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm sure other people's will differ. But Beauty and the Beast definitely was pretty good. I definitely was going in kind of half-hearted with this movie. It's kind of tough to go from an animated film with things like a beast and a candelabra and a talking clock. To transition that into live action, I felt was going to be really difficult, and I wasn't too sure how things were going to look. But they actually did pretty well, especially with Beast, which is actually my biggest concern for this movie, considering to make a Beast in live action, I didn't know if it was going to translate correctly, and it actually did really well. I'm talking about face, horns, hair, claws. The whole thing actually looked pretty good, and looked realistic enough to where I didn't think it wasn't real. I guess you can say it felt like if things were to ever happen, like an enchantress, putting a spell on you or a curse on you, that you would actually look that way. So it's pretty cool that they did that. As for like the other characters within the castle, like Cogsworth and Lumiere, they looked pretty good. I did have a complaint about Lumiere where he had almost like two different forms. One where he stayed basically as an inanimate object, as a candelabra, and then one when he was talking and dancing. And it just seemed strange that they would use two different models for him compared to like Cogsworth, who had the same model the whole time, or even like the wardrobe, things like that. Mrs. Potts, Chip, also. I did have a problem with Mrs. Potts and Chip, but that's kind of just my own issue I had. I just thought the faces on them were a little weird, a little off, and I'm assuming that's probably the best that they could do with what they had and what they were working with. And so props to them for doing the best that they could, but it just seemed a little odd to me. For costuming and kind of like environment, everything fit really well for the time period that they were going for. The costuming was done really well. Belle's yellow dress that she wears during the ballroom dance looked fantastic, and so did the Beast suit, I guess you can call it, that he wears. But yeah, I mean, everything was really good for visuals, other than those few complaints that I had. As for audio, nothing really stood out crazy. Everything fit really well. The music was pretty good. Obviously, you have your classic songs from there, like Beauty and the Beast and Be Our Guest. So they were redone for this movie with the new cast vocals, or what we supposed to be the new cast vocals, singing, and there are a little bit of changes, and I feel like the lyrics, or at least the way that the song moved through, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually pretty good. It fit the story really well and the way that the movie worked, so I had no complaints about that. There were a couple new songs that they added that helped with the movie moving along forward, which was pretty cool. Now, there are parts in the movie where there's a group of people singing, such as at the beginning of the movie where they sing about how peculiar Belle is as a girl in the village, blah, blah, blah. And when the whole town kind of sings, it kind of gets almost incoherent. You can't really tell what the lyrics are because it just feels like a lot of overlapping of voice coming in. So I feel like there are things like that could have been improved, but it is what it is. You can't really change it after the movies come out. Other than that, though, everything was pretty good. For the story-wise, it's pretty much the same story from the animated film. There are a couple changes here and there, like additions. Changes-wise, there was the original 91 film. They had the curse last to his 21st birthday. In this film, it didn't really have that. It kind of just had once the last petal falls, that's it. Some additions that they added, there was more information about Belle's Meller and what happened to her and how they came to this village. Also, they added a little bit of backstory to Gaston, how he was a soldier in the war and he was a captain, which was pretty cool. And of course, the LeFou controversy, which honestly, if you didn't know that there was a controversy and that the character was gay, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell it. In the original 91 film, he was kind of obsessed and infatuated with Gaston of the caliber of character he was, I guess. And in this movie, they kind of went over the top with it, so it made him, well, it didn't make him, but they came out saying he was an openly gay character. But honestly, if you didn't know that, you probably wouldn't have even guessed. Other than him dancing with another man at the end and the way that Gaston holds him and the way he looks at it. I mean, I guess you can call it if, he didn't really come out openly saying, I'm a gay character, look at me. Which I guess is a good thing because you don't want to portray gay people in that light of, I guess, flamboyancy maybe or over-the-topness because, obviously they're everyday people just like me and you. So I thought it was a good way that they did it. I'm sure in the future there'll be more characters that change to gay, lesbian, trans, and whatever else. So I thought it was cool. I had no issue with it, and I don't see why people would or why other countries would. It's kind of stupid, in my opinion, to be offended by these things. But what are you gonna do? So, other than that, though, there really wasn't anything different from the story. Everything seemed pretty good. Everything flowed really well. Nothing seemed staggered or stale. So, as for a reboot of this classic tale, I thought it was really good, and I thought it was done really well. So, props to the cast and crew, the director, Bill Condon, and everyone else that was involved. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I do recommend seeing it, even if it's not for just seeing the movie, but just for nostalgia, it's definitely worth it. So, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to go read my written review, just click the link below and you'll be able to find it there. And I'd like to hear your comments about what you think about the changes or additions and anything that I had to say. Alright, thanks Internet. See you later.